we kind of skirted around it. It wasn't really something that we talked deeply about
Mm,
in our interview when they got on our podcast last
mm-hmm,
episode.
mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things that I really wanted to emphasize with you at least, or with our audience at least,
Right,
how these guys, Dagan and Alyssa, the Millennial Legends, are so appreciative of Philippine history, Philippine American history,
right, right.
that they made it. What do you call that when you go to Mecca, like a pilgrimage to
Pilgrimage,
actually
pilgrimage.
to make sure that they visit the Philippine American History Museum,
Right, right.
back at BGC Taguig, the fort.
I was a
And
bit surprised to hear that he's pretty much been surrounded by the Filipino culture. Really, you know what I mean? His friends, his buddies that he hangs out with, his fellow divers, co-workers,
yeah,
and so forth and so forth. So it's not like he went into just the Philippine culture kind of blind. You know what I mean?
what I love about them, that it's not all fun and games and like, oh, we're
Correct.
tourists and we're Americans living here in the Philippines. Like, yes, that's like at the facade, but if you kind of listen deeply into the stuff that they were saying about what they
Right.
plan to do in the future,
Right.
it's I don't know how it's going to be, but I think the word is it's more than that. It's going to be, it's something to look forward to. I'm excited to see how they're going to push forward with what they have in mind.
It was the whole interview itself. It was I didn't so I listened to it right after, and to be honest with you, I liked it. It was a really good interview for me, right? But
Mm,
what gave me affirmation in regards to it is my wife
mm,
sat down, and because of that interview, she definitely started following Dagan and Alyssa.
mm.
She subscribed, and now she's actually watched more episodes than I have. She's been binge watching it. She's
Like,
even watching the live episodes.
screw language, culture, appreciation, and being Filipino and American. About the Flip Side podcast, let's just
Right.
listen to the Millennial Legends instead.
It's not, she said that the biggest thing that she said, like, they're just very relatable. You know what I mean?
Okay,
And
okay.
and when she said that, it brought back the most to me, my favorite thing that Dagan said throughout the interview as well. It brought back, and when my wife said that, it brought back what Dagan said. That go if you're going to the Philippines and you're staying in BGC, you're not going to
Mm,
the Philippines. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Which
yeah.
makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, it is, but in a way, it's not. You're not really experiencing the Philippines if you're surrounding yourself with the BGC, the Manila area. It
I
because
guess
you know
it's kind of like saying, like, when you visit, New York or LA, or you see Hollywood or Universal Studios, it's like, oh, I visited the States,
well, that's
right?
different. It's different because
Is it like,
I mean the
is it
U.S.
not?
has marketed. They have the U.S. The United States has marketed their basically New York, Hollywood, San Francisco, these big cities as like the marketable area. Basically, you know what I mean?
Mm,
You
mm.
talk about going to U.S. Oh, I want to go to Times Square, to New York. But if you go to New York City, the place stinks. It's dirty. There's a lot of crime. It's too crowded. It's expensive like hell. I,
Mm.
you know,
So it is, or it's not representing the U.S.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right. So
If
is it safe to say that, yeah, saying visiting the Philippines, visiting BGC is like visiting the Philippines is not correct? That's inaccurate.
No, I don't think so. I mean, if I'm going to
But
say I'm going to visit the Philippines, yeah, of course, BGC would be part of it. Manila
but
would be part of it, but I don't
right,
think that's enough to say that I visited the Philippines.
right. But if you
You got to
go
get out there.
to Siargao or Bohol, is it like, say, is that safe to say, like, hey, I visited the Philippines. We went to
Yes.
Bohol.
Yeah. One of the staples of visiting tourist areas is Bohol.
But that's just visiting a province.
Yeah, but that's where the life is in the Philippines, really.
Is it?
I don't know. I mean, I could be coming from just a outsider's point of view because of my wanting to be there. Do you know what I mean?
How about Tondo? I think if you visit the Philippines, you know the Philippines. di ba? Or
Tondo.
if you visit Quiapo, di
Right.
ba?
I guess it's because I don't know, because Tondo is like, to me, when you talk about Tondo, streets wise, that's like talking about LA, Inglewood, or Compton. You know what I mean?
I guess the better way to say it is like visiting one place is not representative of visiting the whole place.
Right,
Maybe
right.
it's not. It's
It's
not
not
like
applicable to every place, you know? You can't say you're
it.
going to Thailand if you just go to Bangkok. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
depends, really.
I went to one province or one like island in Thailand, and I definitely did not feel. I didn't pass Bangkok at all. So
Mm,
I can't really say that. And on my passport it says Thailand, but I don't really feel like I visited Thailand.
right, because it's not really experiencing it. Now, if you go,
But
the flip side of that, hold on, my train of thought, I don't want to lose this. The flip side of that is you can't say the exact same thing about America because it's marketed so much that when you talk about, oh yeah, I went to LA, everybody that goes to the US as a tourist really either New York, LA, Miami, San Francisco, right? So
mm,
yeah, I did go to the US. I did go to America.
mm,
But you can't have that same relation as talking about Japan or the Philippines. You
I
know
was
what I
about to
mean?
say Hong Kong. Like if you drop in Hong Kong, visit one night market, I kind of feel like I visited the whole place already.
In a way, yes.
Or Singapore. Like if I walk down
Singapore,
Orchard
no.
Road, I kind of feel like I visited the whole Singapore already.
It all depends in which place, really. But yeah, I know what you're saying, and yeah, you're right. But you can't say that about the Philippines because the Philippines is not exactly represented by BGC or Manila. You talk about the Philippines, you got to go to the outskirts. You got to go to Davao. You got to go to Baguio, to Bohol. You got to go to what's that other
Yeah.
place? Boracay. See,
Let me get distracted here real quick. See, Tin was watching Christine Reyes video movie a while ago in Baguio, and this is
right,
partly goes back to what we're talking about really visiting the place and
right.
feeling it. So I grew up in Baguio, but longer here in Manila, but a good chunk of my life in Baguio.
Mm, mm.
And when I was watching the video, I was watching the movie a while ago. It's like, wow, ang ganda pala sa Baguio. and and she was watching it because she also lived there for a good 6 months. And I
Right.
was like, wow, ganda pala sa Baguio. Punta tayo ng Baguio minsan. It's like, so like there, like when you watch a movie, the location scouts, the movie itself decide that this is the part that we're just going to show. They can't show the whole thing.
Right.
Or they can
Right.
decide to sugarcoat and hide and like purposefully not show the bad parts or not the not so cinematic parts.
Mm.
So where are we going with all of that?
I don't know. We kind of jumped into the place they're talking, starting from the Millennial Legends because of what their comment was.
I think that's what's so nakakaingit about the Millennial Legends is that they are so willing and open to be going around, as in to really experience it. Yun yung
Right.
nakakainis
Because
dito sa mga foreigners that they
they
can
don't
actually go
have,
around.
well, exactly. A lot of the tourists, especially when they go to the Philippines, okay, even
Mm.
Filipinos who are balikbayans from the US to the Philippines, there is a limit. There's kind of like a wall of where they would want to go to or where they wouldn't want to go to.
Nagtitipid ba sila? Are they trying to
No,
save
no, no, no,
money?
no, no. No, no. I don't think it's about being tipid or being it's straight bakasyonista. Okay, the tourist and some of the balikbayans. It's the bakasyonista attitude, the vacationist attitude. Where I don't really want to go here. I want to go here because this is where the spot is. This is a big, good tourist place. Yada yada yada. Do I want to walk around Tondo, or do I want to go straight to to Boracay, or to what I mean, Bulacan, whatever.
Mm.
And the other end, people like Dagan and Alyssa, the Millennial Legends, or Commander Daot, or Kulas, Kyle Jennerman with Becoming Filipino. Actually, and I'd put Will Dasovich in that category as well. their openness. Oh, that's such a horrible view. Their openness of wanting to actually, literally experience every crevice of the Philippines.
Mm,
It's impressive. You know, I mean, I gotta admit, I wouldn't find myself even thinking about visiting Tondo, and Dagan and Alyssa literally were walking around like it's Tuesday. You know what I mean?
mm, mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm, mm. Yeah, yun nga eh. There's such a sentiment about like, and to my fault, not like oh, I live here, I can go there anytime. But maybe
right?
there's this sentiment about them being foreigners, thinking in the back of their minds that they're not going to be living here forever,
Mm-hmm.
not
Mm-hmm.
probably retire here.
Right.
That there's a sense of urgency that we got to check out these places. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Versus someone that's living here, myself, speaking for myself, that I'm probably going to live and die here so there's like I can take my time
Yeah, kasi wala silang ganun sa kanila.
kasi wala silang ganun sa kanila or kasi bilang yung oras nila dito because their
Yeah.
visa's gonna run out.
Parang ganun. Kaya
I
gusto
don't
nila
think it's that.
mag-discover
I
ng
mean,
So
place.
that's just my way of saying like I feel such a tourist in my own country, but what I admire from them is that sense of urgency and the go get 'em attitude that they project.
mm,
Like I remember hearing somebody says like, "What do you think? Are you going to be living till 900 years old?" Like, of course not. So parang we just generally don't have that sense of urgency
I don't
to
think
do
it's.
whatever it
I
is that
don't.
we had in
In their
mind.
particular case with Dagan and Alyssa, I don't think it's the sense of urgency. I think it's their genuine curiosity,
That
and I
too.
think Tondo maybe appeared in Dagan's view of curiosity because, well, because of the way Tondo is, from what it was to what it is. You know, and the difference of kind of places that he has gone to, walking around BGC and to the memorial, and then all of a sudden you turn around, he's at Tondo. You know, not a lot of people exactly have that kind of aspect or range in regards to their curiosity. I know I
You,
don't.
the reason why I think to admit to myself why I don't explore my own neighborhood, so to
Mm.
speak. It's probably because I'm gonna be so cynical about it. It's like Dagan said, "Oh, they like the food," and I go there and like, "Psh, don't like the food." you know, it's like sarap yung like the shoma is so good. It's
Right.
okay. I'm thinking like I'll be so cynical about it, but that's
Is it
just
being
me getting ahead of
cynical
myself.
or just closed minded? Huge difference.
I think,
Maybe to be more honest, parang yung feeling alam mo na. Like
yeah.
I feel like I already
Yeah.
know, but I didn't really go there and try it out.
Maybe you should follow into their train of thought because, in a way, even though it's there already, maybe it is a
Yeah.
new experience for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
why it's both inspiring and frustrating at the same time because frustrating is because like it's right under my nose. Why don't I do it?
It's jealousy.
It's jealousy. That's what it
Right.
comes down to. That's what
Right.
it
Right.
comes down to. But like I said, it's a nice yeah, Dagan and Alyssa, Millennial Legends. They're like a cup of coffee in the morning when it comes to like Philippine culture. It's a little
It's a bit too
kick
much
in
for
the
you.
kick in the kick in the nuts in a sense like, hey, these guys are curious. Why aren't you curious about your own
Right.
country?
Right.
Parang ganun.
Wake
It's
up
like
call, you know?
so.
Nice view, ah.
Ay, nako. Sana all.
It's let me I saw one of this shorts that I cut up and whatnot. I don't haven't posted this yet, but I kind of think it's kind of interesting
You
how
would warn anybody about any
train of thought.
Westerner, like, hey,
Yeah. I mean, and not necessarily warn about, but like a heads up. If you love beef, there's no beef. There is beef.
I love how Alyssa was like straight up on that. Like you could tell she's a steak kind of girl, you know, because she's like, God damn it, I miss my beef, man.
You got to pay premium price for it.
That's
But mostly there's
hilarious.
no beef.
Right.
It's a real thing though. And like, You can find sushi, but it's probably not going to be the best sushi. There's certain things like comforts from home.
Yeah.
I think dairy is probably the biggest one on the food side
Yeah,
because
yeah.
dairy encompasses no beef, no
No